Hey guys, this is Remy from Handstand Fitness, and in this video we'll be going over 7 tips to help you get the handstand. At the end of the video, I'll be announcing the winner for the hydro plates, so feel free to stick around to find out who the winner is. Alright, so the first tip to getting your handstand is to get yourself these gloves. And these are just like really basic gardening gloves. I'm sure you can buy this anywhere. What I like about them is that it covers the entire hand. There's like this rubber non-skid material on the entire palm. And what's great about these is that when you practice a handstand, you'll realize that your hands get really sweaty, and this really helps with that. And if you're doing it outdoors, whether it be on the grass or on the road, you know, there's always going to be like little pebbles, and you don't when you have your whole weight on your hands and you're trying to balance and you have these little pebbles, it can be really annoying. And it can even hurt, so this will protect you from that. So I really recommend it. I use them pretty much every time I do handstands. All right, so one more thing. Yes, I use them all the time, and but it doesn't mean that I'm reliant on them, which is what I've noticed. So I can take them off and just have no issues. And you can use chalk as well. But if I'm training indoors, I don't like using chalk unless I have to, because chalk does get a bit messy. So that's another benefit of getting these kind of gloves. All right, so the next thing is frequency. So I actually have a list here. So so next thing is frequency. So to get the handstand, you need to train it like all the time. So I was always training it like once a week for like years, and I would have no progress. So then during this pandemic, I decided I was going to actually like make this a priority and really get it. And what I did was basically train it like 5 or 6 times a week, and multiple times throughout the day, because I'll just be at home. So you can do like a grease in the groove kind of like 5 or 6 times throughout the day, and that's really the best way to do it. You can train a handstand, do a few tries, and then take an hour off, and then or 20 minutes off, or whatever you want to do. But just make sure you just get a lot of attempts in there, because that's really how you get the handstand. So the next thing is what comes with doing a lot of frequency and training it a lot is you're going to have wrist problems, and that's just natural. I don't think there's any way around it, and especially when you're first training, because your wrists aren't really used to the movement and being in this position, you're going to have some wrist pain. And another thing is because you're actually putting a lot more pressure on the wrist, because your balancing is not good in the beginning. So there's like 2 things that really cause the wrist pain. And as you get better, your body gets used to the stress on the wrist, and you don't have to push as much because you're getting better to balancing. And then you're not going to have as many of these issues. But in the beginning, you will. So what I recommend is to take a day off, or when you start to feel it really build up, or just to do less attempts on that day. Another thing that really helps is to get yourself some kind of like push-up bars, or these kind of parallettes. And what's great about this is it puts your hand in a neutral position, right? So instead of your hand being like this, you have it like this, right? And you're gonna be able to mitigate all the wrist pain. And there's different stresses that come with these kind of parallettes. You're gonna have like a different pain. Like I feel it here, but at least it's a different kind of stress, and you can kind of spread it out. So that's why I recommend training like 50% on the floor, and then maybe 50% on these kind of parallettes. Or you can do it based on what you want to do. So if you want to train 80% on the floor, of course that's not going to be an issue. Then you do 20% on the push-up bars. Okay, so the next thing is shoulder mobility. So it's really important to make sure that you have the shoulder mobility so that your handstand looks nice. So if you don't have the shoulder mobility, what will happen is your arm will be like this, and then your legs will kind of come up like a banana to compensate for it. So you need to make sure that you have the mobility. So a lot of times you would think, okay, I can get my hands up here, no problem, so I have the mobility. But that's not the case. This is easy, but now put your hand like that, because that's really what your position is in, right? With both hands. And it's a lot harder. You'll feel a lot more stretch here because your hand is back like this. So make sure you have that. I was a swimmer, so I was lucky that I didn't really have much issues with shoulder mobility. But if you're doing a lot of strength training, a lot of times you'll have very tight muscles, so you got to do the stretches for it, right? So you got to just do these kind of wrist stretches, and you can do chest stretches like this, right? You have your arm on the wall and you just look the other way. And another thing is you just go like this and you stretch like that, and this will stretch your lats and your chest at the same time. So I would say do those 3 stretches and make sure that you have mobility, so you can do a nice straight handstand. And when you have a banana, you're not stacking everything, so it actually is more tiring than if you have a perfectly nice stacked handstand. and you'll also be able to translate for movements in the future. Because when you have a banana handstand, you're probably going to be limiting yourself for things like handstand push-ups and planches that you want to do later down the road. All right, so next one is just some pointers of like what to think about when you're doing the handstand. So the first thing is the eyes, right? So where are you supposed to be looking when you do the handstand? And the answer is you're supposed to be looking up, which is actually down because you're upside down, right? So you want to be looking between your two hands, like probably between your two thumbs. And you have something to look at, and it really helps. Yeah, and another thing is your core. So you should keep your core like nice and tight. Like your glutes should be like slightly flexed, and you can keep your feet together, like, and you should be able to feel the what's that muscle like in the inner thigh, right? So those you should be clenching your two legs together. Okay, so that'll keep everything nice and tight, and it'll be easier to be stable. All right, so the next thing is that so the handstand balancing is one thing, right? But then there's also the actual like landing of the handstand. So going from just standing to getting into that handstand position, and that's actually a lot harder. And what I actually did was first I just got the balancing part, and then once I got that, I practiced on the landing. And to be honest, my landing is still not like 100% success rate. I still get maybe like 60%, which is a lot better than even 2 weeks ago where I was probably like 10%. So it's something I'm still working on, but it's something that you probably don't think about when you're just trying to learn the handstand. But it is an important thing because if you can only handstand once you get on the wall and then get to adjust yourself, it's a bit different than being able to do it outside without a wall and hoping that you'll able to get into that handstand, because it is a bit of an art, right? If you like overdo it, you're gonna topple over, and if you don't put enough momentum, you're not going to actually get into that handstand position. So that's something you got to practice separately, and I'm actually going to make a video on that because there's actually a lot that goes into that as well. Okay, so the last thing is just having patience. So learning the handstand can take a long time. For me, it took years, and I guess when I actually put like all my energy into it, it took me about a month. But even in that month, it can be very, very frustrating, especially the first 2 weeks, because you're going to be getting a lot of wrist pain, and the amount of time you're actually practicing the handstand is actually very little in the beginning because you're not really balancing that much. So your progress actually kind of like, in my opinion, like improves like around week 2. Like that's when you can actually start seeing faster progress. And another thing is that not every day is going to be better than the last, right? Even for weight training, you're going to have bad days, and it's going to be the same with handstand, especially when you're tired. So I would also recommend training before you do your very strenuous workouts. So if you do heavy squats, you're probably going to be tired for doing the handstand, even though handstand is very not demanding on the body. Your brain's going to be tired from your nervous system's going to be tired, and your handstands are not going to be as good. So do it before the squats, I would say. And what matters is that the progress, like on a week to week or a month to month basis, right? It's not like the daily progress that matters, because it's going to fluctuate, and it might stress you out if you care too much about that. So yeah, that's all. I think I went over all the really important things, and I would love to hear your thoughts on what things you're struggling with, or if you've actually succeeded in getting a nice handstand. What are the things that I probably didn't mention that you think people should know or that I should know? And yeah, that's all. And for the winner, congratulations to Derek Smith for winning the Hydro plates from the last video. And there should be a video here with the how it was picked. Okay, so that's all. Until next time, bye.